Grand Theft Auto 4 had some of the best DLC a game has ever had. The Lost and the Damned and the Ballad of Gay Tony weren't just solid adventures, they were exciting new looks at Liberty City that you never could have experienced through the main story. Yeah, don't try to tell me that Nico Bellic done the same shit that Gay Tony did. That DLC helped define the legacy of Grand Theft Auto 4.
Life is pain, brother, and through this brotherhood, we can give the pain the finger.
So why hasn't this happened with 5? Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx we ask the question, why won't Rockstar give us a single-player Grand Theft Auto 5 DLC? So I could use the first minute or so of this to talk about how great The Ballad of Gay Tony and The Lost and the Damned are, and how much of an impact they had on whether or not I really thought Grand Theft Auto 4 was awesome.
I made you!
I think Grand Theft Auto 4's world is awesome, I love Liberty City, but I found it really hard to get invested in the story. I did not find it hard to get involved with either of the two DLC stories. Now keep in mind that's just a personal opinion. I certainly enjoy the main game of Grand Theft Auto 4, but I really enjoy the DLC. So while I think it looks pretty cool, honestly I do want to play it. The Tiny Racers DLC they just announced is kinda like, Rockstar spent 5 years making Los Santos. It is a much bigger platform than Liberty City in Grand Theft Auto 4. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot more detailed, and there's a lot more places where a story could wind through than, frankly, the game actually winds through. Indeed, the city itself is partly a platform for a game, and the actual main narrative of Grand Theft Auto 5, though it is sprawlingly huge, doesn't actually use the entire platform. I sincerely doubt, as a matter of fact, that a game could use every location in that city. It's huge, and it's very dense. And this is in no way to take away from Tiny Racers, it does actually look cool. In a way, it's actually returning to the roots of Grand Theft Auto by going top-down, though it is indeed doing it for a racing purpose, which is sort of a diversion, sort of a mini-game, sort of a competitive element to have fun online, which indeed is kind of the point of a game, to have fun. It took years to make Los Santos, supposedly around 5 years to make the city, and I don't know if it's actually possible to make DLCs that kind of are as revelatory as Lost and the Damned or Ballad of Gay Tony for Grand Theft Auto 5 on account the main game actually does contain a whole lot of character. But the fact that they haven't really even attempted to is making people scratch their heads. Very contradictory information has emerged regarding single-player DLC. For instance, back in 2013, which is 4 years ago, not 400 as it may seem, Rockstar Games put up a blog post that said the following: "For those who are ready to jump back into the story of Grand Theft Auto 5, we have big plans for substantial additions in 2014, continuing Michael, Franklin, and Trevor's action, mayhem, and unexpected adventures in southern San Andreas." And like I said, that feels like it was 400 years ago. Since then, the most we've seen is Sean Fontano, who played Franklin in the game, posting a couple of Instagram photos indicating he was working on something Grand Theft Auto related. But then on Facebook in January 2016, Ned Luke, the actor who played Michael, had this to say: "Everybody wants single-player DLC. I know nothing about that. Don't know when it's going to happen or even if it's going to happen." And you do have to take things like that with a grain of salt. They are signed to non-disclosure agreements where if they talk about upcoming projects, they usually, get their pay docked. But the tone of that statement does indicate that he might even be a little frustrated with it. Does he actually know nothing, or does he know something that is frustrating him? I don't know. But at multiple times since that blog post in 2013, Rockstar said things about single-player DLC, but there's still no single-player DLC. So why do you think that is? Why do you think they're putting their focus into things like updates on Grand Theft Auto Online? Well, if you're interested in finding out, Grand Theft Auto Online, once considered a cool side mode to the main game, is kind of the main game now. Oh sure, it's free to play the game, but you know the free-to-play business model. Except you also have to buy Grand Theft Auto to play Grand Theft Auto Online. So it's not actually a free game, it's just free to play, whatever that means. It also has microtransactions so you can progress through the game faster and blah blah blah. You understand microtransactions. I'm not going to insult your intelligence with that. As of April 2016, Grand Theft Auto Online had made $500 million. At that time, it was about $2.5 billion in video game sales, and $500 million that just kinda happened. Well, it didn't just kinda happen. They had already shifted a lot of the focus away from the idea of a single-player DLC. Even in September 2015, they said something about how their primary concern was Grand Theft Auto Online. Now keep in mind, this was a year ago. It had made $500 million a year ago. To say it's still around there would be irresponsible of me. Frankly, the online element continues to grow in Grand Theft Auto 5. They release new content, people buy it, they spend money in microtransactions, and Rockstar Games' bank account looks better and better. In Rockstar's defense, the way to purchase the in-game currency, the shark cards, has effectively subsidized all of the Grand Theft Auto Online DLC. They specifically said the reason we included the optional in-game currency in Grand Theft Auto Online rather than directly selling DLC was because it was the only way we could distribute DLC without dividing the player base each time we brought out a new content pack, which would destroy the online community very quickly by splitting players up. Which makes really good business sense, and to be honest, it's quite admirable considering there's 8 million people playing Grand Theft Auto Online, but a lot of people who really want a single-player DLC kind of look at GTA Online as a bit of a diversion or maybe an easy way to make money. Making anything on the scale of Grand Theft Auto, including online add-ons, certainly isn't easy, but given the amount of money that comes in, the effort is probably a little bit lower than it would be for a full-on single-player DLC. And whether the work is easy or the work is hard, if you have people doing work, they can't be doing other work. Now, I'm not saying it's necessarily a distraction because it is working out very well for them, and without actually having huge releases that they have to hype just like another game, the perpetual nature of GTA Online keeps them in the conversation, so to speak. This isn't bad, this is kind of what is expected of them by all of their shareholders. If something is profitable, they need to do it, because that's how business works. Are there some greedy people there? Probably. But there's also enormous outside pressure that probably has a lot more bearing than anybody could internally. And don't get me wrong, Grand Theft Auto Online is really fun. As far as open worlds that have an online component, there's very little that is better than Grand Theft Auto Online. But here's the thing, people don't like to be told that the reason why they aren't getting the thing that they kind of bought expecting is because something else is making more money. And like I said, that's not necessarily their fault. That's the system we live in. That's how things are. And by no means are you obligated to like the system we live in. Certainly you can work to encourage people and entities like Rockstar Games to do things that aren't entirely profit motivated. And sometimes those things work out really well, but that stuff does take organization. And to be really specific in this case, it also probably takes Grand Theft Auto Online not actually being good, which it kind of is. So ultimately, what it comes down to is that, unfortunately, Grand Theft Auto Online makes a lot of money. And the next Grand Theft Auto might end up taking the same pattern that this one did, a main narrative and an online component. Or the next Grand Theft Auto could literally just be an online game. I certainly hope that's not the case, but we don't know. Keep in mind, Rockstar Games is a company, and companies are bound to generate profit for their shareholders, for the people that own the company. And I know that's not the most pleasant answer, because a lot of us really do like Rockstar Games and we don't want to associate them with the idea of a faceless, profit-driven corporation, but if we ever really actually want to get single-player DLC, they need to hear that that's what they need to do in order to retain customers, in order to keep people around. And I'm not honestly convinced that enough people are so discontent with GTA Online that that's gonna happen. Because like I said, GTA Online is good. It is really enjoyable. Are the servers sometimes not as stable or a little bit more prone to hacking than they should be? Yes, but it's good. It's a lot of fun. But then there's the fact that narrative also matters to me a lot, and I really hope that Rockstar Games does decide to sort of get on it. We did kind of expect some serious DLCs, and we don't have them. And it is uncomfortable to say it because, like I said, I like Rockstar Games just as much as the next person, but the people who own Rockstar Games, that is to say shareholders and powerful executives, don't care. Whatever brings in money is what's important to them. So at the moment, they clearly think that they can bring in more money on GTA Online than a single-player DLC. This shouldn't ruin your enjoyment of Grand Theft Auto 5. It doesn't ruin mine, and it doesn't ruin Grand Theft Auto Online for me either. But let's just go ahead and say it. It would be awesome if they would just make a single-player DLC. Their single-player DLCs have always been really good. If that's what you want to, leave a comment, and I think you know exactly what to do with the like button to do the same. Let's get so many likes and comments on this video it's impossible to ignore. This video needs to do good. We need to send a message. If you're with us on that and want to see more videos from us, we put up new ones every day, so you should subscribe and come back all the time. We thank you so much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanx.